now when I... Yeah, that's nasty. I like. Yo, I don't really have a plan for this video. I just kinda wanna make some music. So I'm gonna do just that, and you can hopefully follow along and learn some tips and tricks from seeing my workflow from scratch. Alright, so in instances like these when I'm not very inspired and I'm not really sure what kind of track I wanna make in the first place, I find that it's usually helpful for me to, like, instead of starting with like the main hook and the main elements, the most important ones, I just like to start with creating the ambience, right, the atmosphere for the entire track, so that it kind of guides my process. It's like the vibe is more apparent. So I'm gonna try to do just that. I'm gonna stop yapping and I'm just gonna try and experiment with that. Fuck. Wow, I'm recording this video and it's kind of intimidating. Like, now I have to come up with something cool. Where do I even start? I guess I'm gonna just start clicking on some samples in my library until I get inspired. Alright, let's just click this. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know what I want to do with this. So I'm just gonna put a note down and I'm gonna use my special effect track. This is a kind of sequencer, except it doesn't use MIDI. I'm just gonna show you what it does. This is something I like to use whenever I'm struggling to come up with any sort of ideas. And by the way, it's free. You can use the link in the description to download it. Let's try duplicating it to stack it on top of itself, see what kind of results we could come up with. Okay, that's interesting. That could be the vibe we're going for. And remember, we started with this. Right, and we just flicked through the presets of this sequencer and we got this, so that's pretty cool. Let's try fucking around a bit more with the atmosphere, with the atmospheric side of things. Oh yeah, let's go for ambience and effects. Alright, that's cool. What is that? Could put that every, like, I don't know, 4 bars or whatever. Just as a sort of crash effect, I guess. Let's turn up the space parameter on here as well. Yeah, that's alright. What else do we got? Okay. These kind of drums, I'm kind of liking them, you know? Let's just add them to a MIDI track here. And I think I want to slice them up, actually. Let's turn down the sensitivity a bit. Let's try doing something with that. How about we pitch them down a little bit? Low pass it with the auto filter. Actually, let's make it a band pass. See, in this stage so far, I'm just trying to really set the foundation for my track, like the vibe that I even want to go for. I really don't want to rush the creating the bass and like the main chord stubs or drums or whatever, because it's just in my workflow when I start out with them, sometimes it just ends up sounding like shit. Oh, Oh, that's cool. Want to low pass it a little bit. Don't want too much lows in there though, so I'm gonna also high pass it a little bit. So I'm gonna cut frequencies below 100 Hertz here. I still don't really know where this is going. Not gonna lie, this is cool though. I'm enjoying it so far. I guess I'm just flicking through presets now, right? Could we make that into a stab? This is sounding kind of bland by itself like that. So I'm gonna add an auto filter in bandpass mode, and I'm gonna set the frequency to around here, increase the resonance a little bit, and now I'm gonna turn up the amount of the LFO so it modulates by itself, and then I can just change the rate like that. So this is the effect that we get. Let's just make the rate a little bit slower. Let's add some delay maybe. Okay, that's dope. I don't know, I just pressed a key on my keyboard at a cool moment. So I just pressed this magical capture MIDI button, which basically lets me automatically put in what I just played in the MIDI. Oh, alright, that's dope. Alright, maybe now we can start to mess around with the bass a little bit. So let's just start with the wavetable. I'm gonna choose a saw wave for this. I'm gonna low pass it as well a little bit. I'm gonna add a sub in here as well. I want it to be a little bit more detuned, so I'm gonna add a second oscillator, and I'm gonna detune it. So you get that kind of effect. And if I turn on the unison setting here, this is the effect that we get. I'm just doodling around on my computer keyboard, by the way. I don't have a MIDI keyboard anywhere here. Just pressing some random keys and seeing what sounds good. Okay, I'm not sure. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not fucking sure. This video is very much unscripted. Right? Maybe this sort of pattern could be saved for like a breakdown somewhere down the line. But maybe we just want to focus on something more snappy, more energetic. Okay, that's dope. I just played that in on my keyboard. Yeah, I use the capture MIDI button again. Let's quantize it by pressing Command U. That's dope. I could hear a kick being added over this immediately. And I think it could also sound cool if I added like an envelope to this filter, so that whenever I play the note, it goes like this. So let's just go to the envelope section in this wavetable. And when I press envelope 2, this is what we've got. So I'm just gonna turn the sustain down all the way so it looks like this. And now I can go to the matrix window of the wavetable right here. And when I press the frequency, now I'm gonna see the filter frequency down here. And I can turn this window up because you see here it says envelope 2. So it's going to be binded to this envelope. And now this is what starts to happen. I hope I'm explaining this well enough. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions regarding this. So it kind of gives a more of a plucky type of feeling to this bass. Maybe I could add some distortion here. That's dope. I like that. Dang. That's kinda nasty. Yeah. Alright, how about we add a kick just to get a feel of how things are going now. I'm just gonna pull in a kick from my sample library that I've created on my own. Like this is where I store all my samples. I also like layering my kicks together. This is also another one of my kicks. It's got a more soft feel to it. Yeah, that sounds alright. Let's add a drum bass in here as well. Let's add this one, maybe. So I'm gonna use that as my kick, and now I can sidechain my bass to the kick so it hides away when the kick hits, so that they don't clash with each other too much. So let's add a compressor on the bass. So we just need to press this arrow, go to sidechain, and now we get to choose the kick from this menu here. And you see this waveform shows up, and now when I yeah. Fuck. That's nasty. Yeah, when I decrease the threshold, the bass now starts to hide away on the kick hit. And now that I have this, actually, wait, let me just sort my session a bit real quick here because it's a bit chaotic. I'm definitely going to be modulating that in the arrangement. Alright, now where the fuck do we go from here? Right, because this is where I very often get stuck. We can add some drums, that's always a good idea. I'm just gonna add the stop loop from my own sample folder. Okay, but we could also use some sort of lead, so something to hold on to in the mid frequency range. I guess I could just copy this bass setting, this bass preset that we've created here. Maybe we could get rid of the envelope. Yeah, that's cool. Let's make it an ARP maybe. That seems simple enough. I'm just using the notes that we used in the bass, so C sharp, C, and G. Yeah, like right here. And I think I can decrease the length of the loop to just these 3 notes so that it's a polymeter. And if you don't know what a polymeter is, it's basically a loop that's a little bit shorter or longer than the standard. So in this case, instead of being 2 beats, it's 1.5 beats. So that it loops in a more interesting way in relation to the kick and the beat of the track. Alright, let's try copying this wavetable preset once more. But this time maybe we could create some sort of chords, I guess. Let's try it, why not? So let's turn it from mono to poly. And right now I'm going to add a chord device in here. And I'm going to do some shenanigans. The chord device basically makes it so that when you add notes to it, it's going to play 2 notes instead of 1. So this is without the chord device, and this is with it. But we can add more notes, so that now we have a minor chord, because +3 and +7, that equals a minor chord. And I like adding the +14 interval, because it gives it that sort of feeling. And also +19 is kind of cool. Maybe let's try +2. Yeah, see, this is pretty nice. Let's try -7 as well. I like how that sounds. So let's try something. Maybe this could just be a static pad where it's just one chord unchanging all the way throughout, just to add to the ambience and atmosphere of the track. Let's add a side chain on it as well. But let's not stop here. Let's add an auto filter in here. I love using the auto filter, by the way. This is a great device. And with the auto filter we can, for example, use a low pass. And when we turn up the LFO amount and turn the rate to like 16th notes, this is what it starts to sound like. So it's pretty cool, right? But we can also slow the rate down to like 8th notes, I guess. And from this menu you can also choose the shape of the LFO, so that's pretty cool. That's what this one sounds like. Or this one, if you're a fan of that. I think I like it more in bandpass mode. And see, we started with this shit, and now you basically don't even hear it anymore. I'm turning it on and off. Can you hear the difference? I don't think you fucking can. But this exercise of just starting with the atmosphere, I think is very helpful, at least for my creative process. I guess now let's try doing sort of a draft arrangement for the track really quickly, as much as I have time for, because my battery is running out. So let's go into the arrangement view, and I have markers put down every 16 bars just to help me orientate in the arrangement. That's the default template I have set for myself. So let's just press record in here. Okay, and now we have all this stuff from session view, and now we can start dragging some of these things around. And I do often like to start with the atmosphere in terms of like what comes first in the arrangement. Maybe you could take away some of the drum hits from this specific atmosphere percussion type thing, and gradually introduce more and more drum hits as the arrangement goes on. This one doesn't really fit anymore, does it? Oh, that's dope. Yeah, I think we could definitely introduce that. This is already like a sort of build-up. Alright, I think I know what I want to do with this arrangement. So I'm probably gonna introduce the bass prematurely right here. It's gonna be very low cut, and I'm gonna automate that so it comes in like at right here. Well, I think I'm also going to automate the actual cutoff in the wavetable plugin. It's gonna start very low. Very unintense, you could say. And at this point, I definitely think I want to be introducing even more intensity in the build-up by adding some rides, maybe? Let's use the default 909 rides. That's way too loud. And I'm definitely gonna cut the drums just before the drop hits, just to introduce more contrast in the arrangement. As for this atmosphere thing, this I'm a bit iffy about that one. Maybe you could make it just like a very subtle element, so I'm just going to cut the lows and highs very heavily. Yeah, I think I wanna filter this arpeggio in very gradually. So it starts off small and then builds and builds. I'm also automating the frequency cutoff in the lows of the arpeggio. But yeah, not gonna lie, I have 5% of my battery left in my laptop, but that's how I would go about roughly creating the arrangement. And it's a pretty cool track that we just cooked up. And this concept of starting with the ambience of the track to just, you know, see what kind of vibe you want to go for is very helpful for me, and I'm sure it will be for you. So definitely keep it in mind. And one thing I want to add to that is that the weirder you can make it, the better, usually. So just get very experimentative with this, with creating the ambience. And again, if you need some sort of a push to get your creative juices flowing, you can definitely download my Shift sequencer. It's basically an effect rack that lets you come up with crazy shit on the spot. So download my Shift sequencer in the video description and watch this video next. That's it for today. Cheers.